So right now we are at pretty much TDC, or like 10 degrees before set static timing. And if you have a look down in there, let's see if that's the best way for you guys to see. Well, this might not be easy to show on camera, but I cannot see that pin anywhere. Well, welcome back to Living with a Classic, and we're doing just a quick little thing here to my 1977 XJ12. If you haven't been following along, at the end of the last driving season, I was out driving and I hit a massive bump or pothole in the road, and then it backfired like crazy and it wouldn't start again. Realized that the distributor had jumped time and put it back in and drove it into storage, and haven't really driven it since. A couple of videos ago, I did a couple things on it where I went into with a camera inside to have a look at the sprocket on the jack shaft. So there's two camshafts, and then there's a jack shaft in the middle that drives the distributor. And it's all driven by one timing chain. I wanted to see if anything had jumped. And one way you can check that is with the engine at TDC. There are two bolts on that jack shaft that hold the sprocket on, and they need to be vertical, and they were, and everything else seems to line up, and there's no weird noises, nothing like that. So I took the distributor out and I thoroughly went through it. I filmed it, you'll see that in a little bit, to check if maybe something inside there had broken, causing anything to jump. That doesn't seem to be the case. I have a new theory of might have happened, and I want to double check that with one last thing to see if anything has jumped time. So I've looked at a spare engine and another V12 as well. So on that jack shaft in the middle, there is a little sprocket at the end for the distributor drive gear to go onto as well. And that has a pin on it as well to secure it. And when the engine is timed, that pin points straight up, so you can see it when you look into the hole where the distributor sits. So that's what I want to see right now. I pulled this distributor out here, and you'll see the footage in just a second, and I've gone through it. There's nothing wrong with it, it's perfect. However, I just pulled it out in any random position. I just took a photo where the rotor's pointing to put it back in. So I need to put that in now in that position, and I'll rotate the engine over to TDC, and then we can double check if anything is wrong. But let's roll the footage of all of this, taking care of the distributor, taking it apart, and seeing what it was like inside. I've taken the distributor apart in basically every single component. I've had the weights off and everything as well, and there's nothing wrong with it. Nothing has happened to it. I've also checked one thing. Let me show you guys. So here you have distributor gear, and there's a rivet there, and that rivet lines up with this here where the you have the other parts go on, and then you have the rotor up here, and that's the same on all spare distributors I have. So if that rivet would have sheared and the gear would have spun, it would definitely not line up perfectly as it does. So I'm going to put this back together, and then I have one thing I want to check down on the car when we're ready to put the distributor back in. I put the distributor in loosely before, and the rotor was pointing that way, like it was when I pulled it out. And now I cranked the engine over by hand, and yeah, you see it's pointing on cylinder 1 there on the sensor, and I've set it to actually to set static timing later at 10 degrees before I top the sensor on the dampener. So let's pull the distributor out, and let's see if that cog is in the right position. It's a couple of hours later, and a little bit of disappointment. I've been away and I got a haircut, if you noticed, and it's not good news. I rolled it over to TDC, pulled the distributor, and remember I told you about a little pin in there that you can see? Can't see it, which means the jack shaft is not aligned, or the shaft might be aligned, but something's happened so that either the gear has turned there or something else. So what I did was, I've checked in two engines. I pulled the distributor on another engine I have sitting, and yeah, I can see the pin on that one as well. So let me bring a flashlight over to the spare engine that's in here and show you guys what that looks like, and then I'll show you on the engine here. And well, I'm pretty disappointed. On this parts engine here, I've pulled the cover where the distributor sits. That's the hole for the distributor right there. And this one's lined up at TDC. And can you see right down there? So there is that little marker, a little pin that must lock that cog onto the jack shaft. And on every single other engine I've had a look inside, when it's all lined up in TDC, you can see that. It points straight up. However, there are no other real markings or anything of that sort. And on my engine, I can't see that. So right now we are at pretty much TDC, or like 10 degrees before set static timing. And if you have a look down in there, let's see if that's the best way for you guys to see. Well, this might not be easy to show on camera, but I cannot see that pin anywhere on that cog down there, and I've truly looked. So that's really not the news I was looking for. So unless an absolute miracle happens and I find a really good solution, well, this car is not going on a really long 9-hour one-way road trip in, what is it, 2 or 3 weeks time. It's not going to happen. I think what really needs to happen is, bonnet off, radiator, all of that, all the accessories, front cover off, and have a look at the timing chain. If something's happened there, if tensioner has gone and something has jumped, or I have seen a picture of the teeth on that jack shaft sprocket that have completely disappeared almost, which is weird. This is low mileage relatively, and doesn't ever seem to have been abused, but it's very, very odd. So what happened is I was driving along and I hit a massive hole in the road, and then right after this happened. So my guess, when I didn't find anything wrong with the distributor or anything, was that I hadn't gotten the distributor in all the way, because there's 3 Allen screws and you have to sort of get it in, tighten them all around and get it locked in, and that distributor might have been a little bit loose. And that's why, because I had the distributor out not too long ago. I mean, it's a couple of years ago, but mileage wise, not that long ago, when I filmed a video for you guys just showing how to take it apart and lubricate and put it back together. And I also replaced my the reed switches up top with the more modern version for the Electronic. And then this happened. So not really sure yet which car it's going to be for the road trip. It needs to be with a rear seat, because, well, I'm bringing my son and my dad along. So green XJ6 maybe? Doesn't have any AC, but maybe the weather, I mean, today's nice, but usually summer weather's been terrible. So that's an option. The X-Type is an option, because at least I want to bring a Jag. So those are the 2 options. Both of those don't have AC. The X-Type doesn't work, needs a new compressor, and this one's never had it. So we'll see what happens. The XJ6 actually threw a thing yesterday. That's why the bonnet's open. There's a short circuit in the diode pack inside the alternator. So I have a new alternator for it. So there's some things going on, and it's cosmetically, it's not as beautiful as the white one. But I mean, we're just going there, have fun. I'm not going to put it in a competition or do anything. I just want to drive there, hang out with some like-minded people, have a good weekend with my son and my dad, and that's about it. So really, really disappointed, because I was so looking forward to taking the XJ6 on the road trip. I've had it for close to 11 years now and driven it a lot, but it's never been on a long road trip somewhere. Like, this will be 9 hours, 8-9 hours each way, and we're going off really beautiful roads and going to a really beautiful place. But yeah, I just don't think I'll be able to fix this in time, and I don't want to not jinx it, but I don't want to chance it. What if I put distributor in now and everything seems fine, and then in a couple of 100 miles from home, something really bad happens? That would not be good at all. Anyways, beginning of the video, I really thought this was going to work, but turns out things don't always go to plan. Anyways, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with friends. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe to the channel. It really does help out a lot. Until next time, I'm Adam. This is Living with a Classic. I'll see you soon.